Right now we're dry fitting the rest of our XL62 floor, or our XLC1 floor. We've changed the inner fenders from the 57 to accommodate for now a little bit later into the C1 generation. We've designed a new firewall, so you see the firewall, the inner fender left and right is sitting in there. Everything has flanges to it, so it's sitting in there. And here's another flange bonding strip that goes on the back side of the inner fender for your final bond, where you're going to, your final position. So if you come underneath here, Andrew, you're going to see how everything interlocks. So here's our new inner fender with no flange, but then we add our bonding strip flange to the top of it. So now this gets bonded to the hood surround, and then you come back and bond the inner fender to this. So if you need to move the hood surround, you can see that movement. Once you got everything fitted, you're going to mock up your hood, you're going to dry fit everything, and then you're going to go to bond all this in. Before we bond this, so we're going to bond in our inner fender, our firewall, and our firewall bonding strips. So everything pretty much just snaps out of here. Everything is coming out. Everything has flanges to it. Flanges all the way. Here's the firewall sitting right inside the engine compartment. Everything has flanges around it. So it's flanged all the way around. And same token here. This is a flange that incorporates the rockers to the original firewall, to our firewall, up and over, locking everything in. Everything's locked in. So we're going to come in here, we're going to finish our fit of our floor. We're going to bond our floor to rockers. Then we're going to come back and bond this bonding strip, which bonds at the rocker to the floor, which now is locking everything in. And then the firewall goes on, then the inner fenders. So we'll try to take you through this so you can understand it and see what we've done here to make all this work. Just a little explanation here. If you go back to the rocker segment of this video, look inside this pocket right here. You got to sneak way around inside of there, Andrew. We've added 3 of these on each side. So we have 3 gussets that we put in there. Normally there's a piece of tin that hooks to the rocker at the bottom and the top here at the door jamb. So we've taken that piece of metal out of here, and so now we have 3 gussets that bond to the outer, to the inner. We have a new gusset, a new panel that comes in the top, cuts into the existing door jamb at the bottom and comes out. Then we have a new piece of the rocker that we built here that's glass. It's a Z shape, I call it, that hooks in there. This bonds to the gussets. The gussets are bonded on each side. Rock solid. So now this is our panel we've designed to bring together our rocker, our factory floor firewall, and now our floor firewall that's going to bring this all together. Everything locks together. It's going to fit like a glove. So this panel comes around here. It's going to get bonded here, here, cross chair, up on both sides. So once we've prepped this out, we'll put our epoxy in there. This panel will go up into here and get bonded. So it's bonded to the original floor, firewall, rocker, our floor that we designed, firewall. It all comes together. Then after this is bonded, then our firewall comes in here and gets bonded into place. Our dry fit is finished. We dry fitted our inner fenders, firewall, bonding strips. We have our 4 locating bolts. These are to locate, bond the floor. When we're done, we'll take them out and fill the holes. Very seldom do we ever drill a hole in a piece of fiberglass around here, but you'll never see this one because the frame's going to conceal it from here and the panels inside will conceal it. We dry fitted our floor. We have 4 locating pins where our floor is going to go. It marriage to our frame. It's marriage into our rockers. Now keep in mind, we've beefed up these rockers. There's 5 new panels per side that we've put in here to design this rocker. Rock solid. You hear how it used to sound, that's how it sounds, because it's rock solid. We're coming underneath here, the big Sharpie, and we're just outlining the outer perimeter of our floor to the rocker. Because when we let this down, we're going to shoot our epoxy in there, and we don't want to be messy. If we can contain the mess while we're doing what we're doing, that's less on the other end to clean up. So we come inside the cockpit, once again with our Sharpie. We're going to run our Sharpie so we know to keep our epoxy inside the Sharpie lines. Around this back quarter panel here, we're going to get the top of the quarter inside that quarter jam. Okay, right now something you really remember to do is we have our tubs just sitting in here. We're not bonding the tubs right now. We're bonding the main floor at the rockers. We'll come back after those are set. These tubs will get moved out, they'll get bonded, and then the extensions will get put in there. But these tubs have to go on top of the floor before you can put the body on top of the floor. If you forget to put the tubs on top of the floor and you bond that floor in there, I guess you got to figure that one out. Just remember, tubs on top of the floor, body gets glued. So, I think we're ready. So we want to take this back up enough to undo the bolts and let it drop down to our fixtures. Okay, back to our explanation of our fixture. We built this fixture, goes around the outside perimeter of the car. We use the hula hoop system that you've seen that we have, the 2 hoops that we can turn this thing around in, which will end up back on that down the road. Pretty much whatever you choose for a body fixture, a rotisserie should be able to work in what you've done here. But we've mounted to our doors, so our door gap is the same. So we're not losing our door gap once we open this up. The back of the car is suspended to our fixture, and the front of the car is suspended to the fixture. So this is holding this body. This body's been twisted around upside down and everything you can think of, and it hasn't moved. So we've also built 2 more fixtures that go underneath this that's going to hold our floor. We're going to drop the floor down. We're going to bag our epoxy, mix up our epoxy and put it in our bag and squirt it in there. Then we're going to put the floor back up to the bolts, bolt them snug, and then put our wedges in there with our other fixtures to hold it and walk away from it for the day. So go ahead and drop the floor, Todd, and Andrew can show that being done. Okay. Okay, right now is what he's doing is blowing out the dust from our rocker panels. It's got to be dust free. So now we're going to bring our epoxy stuff over here and show you how we do epoxy one more time. Epoxy time. Okay, the epoxy we choose to use one that we control how much we're mixing instead of out of the tubes. For the money, this goes a lot further. It's 2 parts of the epoxy itself to 1 part of the hardener. We're zeroed out. I'm going to do 200 grams of epoxy to 100 grams of hardener. So you just want to make sure everything's mixed up good, thoroughly. The pot life on this, today it's about 65 out. Probably have a good 15 minutes before it starts to kick in the bag. Once you spread it out on the floor, pot life is going to be longer because it's not in the mass that it's going to be in. So we put our epoxy in a heavy duty freezer baggie. Put a little vent hole at the opposite end of where we're going to come out. Put a little cut in there about 3/8 of an inch.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And we're going to kind of climb inside of here a little bit. Right now our floor is sitting on our fixture going across from side to side. It's holding our floor right where we want it. We're coming in, we're staying within that Sharpie line, and we're coming right down, putting a nice fair bead of epoxy. You'll see how we're coming back in here on the rear section of this, and so we're coming across here on the floor. We're putting our epoxy there. Then we're coming up here to the front. Take that up a little bit higher, would you, Todd? So now my bag is going in there and just kind of getting in there nice. Basically just getting it down there.
Assistant director.
There's something you want to keep in mind here is we're doing this with epoxy. We're not doing it with a polyester product. And we have a nice pot life on this, so we're not being rushed. We have our 2x4s against the floor surface, and our fixture going across the bottom of those. We've added our wedges, and we've kind of tapped our wedges into place to put an upward pressure on that floor so we get a nice good bond. And you saw the way the bond oozed out on both sides. Pretty comfortable. It's nice and equal. Okay. Kind of put your stick in there at an angle, and we're just wanting to butter that epoxy around that corner a little bit. Yeah, just enough squirting out of this side. And when we get done, we're going to let it down, go up inside the car, and make sure it's not excessive mess. You want to come back and see this quarter inside the rocker back here? So you want to come back in here and finish this off nice and neat. This part here for the convertible top will get bonded later. We're not bonding that section yet. A lot of design work has gone into making this whole thing fit. Perimeter frame, floors dropped 2.5 inches, footwells moved forward. You're going to end up with 11-inch tubs in the back. Be able to have a big tire convertible top. If you look inside here, Andrew, yep, you'll see where it oozed out more so here than it did on the bottom, thankfully. So we're just going to come in here and be as neat as can be. Monocoque design. It's where the body and the floors all fasten together, preferably with epoxy glued together. We have a lot of panels in this design that overlaps to give us that monocoque design, the strength. Makes everything kind of fit like a glove. So, one thing to keep in mind, don't forget to have your tubs, your main tubs, sitting on the back of the floor when you're gluing the main floor in. Because these are going to slide over. They're going to slide over, you're going to bond them. The extensions are going to slide. We've made these tubs so they can go here, and if you want them there, you could put a 24-inch tire in the back of the car. See, 24 inches? But then you'd lose your convertible top. We designed them so they get moved over, and you have about 11-inch tub. So you still have a nice sized tire back here, and you still facilitate a convertible top. God knows you don't want to get caught out in the rain in a convertible without the top. So, for now, thanks for watching.